might feel fine right now, but what if I told you your body could be counting down to a stroke without you knowing? Many seniors wake up, pour a cup of coffee, maybe feel a little dizzy, a little numbness in the arm, and brush it off. But here's the truth no one talks about. For nearly half of all stroke patients, the warning signs show up days in advance. They just disappear too quickly to notice. A small slur in your speech, a strange headache behind one eye, a stumble you blame on the carpet. These aren't just senior moments. These could be your only chance to stop a life-altering stroke before it happens. And yes, it's scary, but it's also hopeful because if you know what to look for, you can act fast and recover fully. So, in this video, I'll walk you through the 10 earliest signs a stroke may be coming. Some can appear a week before, and what each one means. You'll understand the science, you'll feel more in control, and you'll know when it's time to call for help. Let's start with the most commonly ignored symptom that doctors say shows up first in nearly 4 out of 12 cases. Sign 1. You feel a strange numbness in your arm, but it goes away, so you ignore it. You ever get a tingle in your arm or leg, just for a minute, then it disappears before you can finish your coffee? Most folks say, "Oh, maybe I slept funny," or "it's just age." But after 65, even short numbness, especially on one side, can be something far more serious than you think. Let's slow it down for a second. That sudden numbness might be your brain's way of waving a red flag. It happens when blood flow to part of your brain is briefly cut off. Doctors call this a TIA or mini stroke. It doesn't leave a scar. You won't feel pain, but it's a loud warning that your blood vessels are tightening, and a real stroke may be just days away. What makes this so dangerous? It tricks you. You feel fine again, so you ignore it. But studies show that nearly 43% of major strokes are preceded by small, passing signs like this just days before the big one. If you feel numbness in your face, arm, or leg, even for just 60 seconds, stop and listen to your body. Sit down, make a note, and call your doctor as soon as you can. Don't wait until your body has to scream louder. If this made you rethink something you once ignored, comment 1 below. You could be the reason someone gets help in time. Sign 2. Your words suddenly feel jumbled or stuck, even if just for a moment. Storytelling, self-talk/emotional goal, silent fear of being alone during an episode. Have you ever talked to yourself while doing something simple, like reading a recipe or thinking out loud, and suddenly your words sound wrong? Maybe they come out slurred, or the sentence just doesn't finish the way you meant. It passes quickly, so you keep going, thinking it was just nothing. But what if I told you this could be one of the most important signs your brain ever gives you? Here's why. When blood doesn't reach the part of your brain that controls speech, even for 30-60 seconds, you might experience a brief misfire. Doctors call it a TIA, a mini stroke. You don't pass out, you don't feel pain, but your speech may get tangled, and that's a red flag. The biggest danger is that it often happens when you're alone. You hear yourself speak and think, "That was odd," but you don't tell anyone, and that silence, it's what strokes rely on. This isn't just forgetting a word. This is your brain not getting enough oxygen, and the next time it happens, it may not stop. So if your speech feels strange, slow, or unclear even for a minute, don't ignore it. Sit, breathe, then call your doctor or tell someone close to you. Because one short sentence could be the first sign of a much bigger problem. Comment 2 below if this helped you see speech struggles in a new light. Sign 3. Your vision suddenly blurs or doubles and you blame the lighting. Storytelling disrupted daily routine / emotional goal, loss of independence. You're reading the paper and suddenly the words blur. You blink, rub your eyes, the text clears up so you carry on. Or maybe the TV looks a little off. You see double for a second. You move your head around. It passes. Most seniors chalk this up to tired eyes, cataracts, or bad lighting. But what if it's not your eyes at all? Sometimes the issue isn't in your eyeballs, it's in your brain. There's a part of your brain that handles vision. When a tiny clot blocks blood flow there, even for just a moment, you might experience blurred or double vision. It's painless, it passes, but it's not harmless. This happens more often in what doctors call posterior strokes, the kind that affect the back part of your brain. These strokes are harder to spot and more likely to be ignored. That's why any sudden change in your sight blurriness, tunnel vision, double vision, deserves attention, especially if it only affects one eye or lasts for a few minutes. So next time your vision shifts out of nowhere, don't assume it's just your glasses. Make a note, tell someone, call your doctor and mention the change. Seeing clearly isn't just about your eyes. It could be your brain asking for help. Comment 3 below if you've ever dismissed vision changes and now see them differently. Sign 4. You lose balance just for a second. Storytelling. So san toi treva hien tai. / emotional goal. Tu ai balo lang ve toi chia. You used to walk across the kitchen without even thinking. Now, you catch yourself wobbling, holding on to the counter, just for a second. You tell yourself it's nothing. Maybe you got up too fast. Maybe the floor's slick. But here's what many people don't realize. Sudden loss of balance, even for a moment, can be a red flag. Not from your legs, but from your brain. The part of your brain that controls coordination and balance is especially sensitive to blocked blood flow. When that happens, you might feel dizzy, stumble, or sway unexpectedly, then feel fine a minute later. This could be a warning stroke or TIA, telling you something bigger might be coming. The danger is subtlety. You might not fall. You might recover quickly, but your brain doesn't forget, and if it happens again, the damage may not go away. That's why any unexpected balance issue, especially if paired with lightheadedness or nausea, deserves attention. Don't write it off. After 65, your body sends warnings in whispers. Don't wait until it has to scream. If your feet ever feel unsure beneath you, even once, pause, hold on, sit down, and call your doctor. Comment 4 below if balance is something you've noticed change recently. Sign 5. A headache that feels off. Storytelling. La plai kuntuk ba fa vo / emotional goal. Enkak dien va. Jagdyak. Most headaches are annoying, but you know how they feel. The dull ache, the tension behind the eyes, the one that comes with stress. But sometimes you get a different kind, one that hits fast, feels sharp, strong, and out of place. Doctors call this a sentinel headache, and in seniors, it can appear days, even a week before a stroke. In one study, 15% of stroke patients had this kind of unusual headache before the big event. It's not just pain. It's your body's way of saying, hey, something isn't right. This headache often comes without warning. No stress, no missed meals. It may feel like pressure in the head, behind the eyes, or in a spot that doesn't usually bother you. It might last for hours or fade in 30 minutes. But it feels different. And that difference, it matters. If you ever feel a strange headache that doesn't follow your usual pattern, don't pop a pill and wait. Write it down. Tell someone. Get it checked. Because sometimes the pain you almost ignore is the one that matters most. Comment 5 below if you've had a headache that felt off recently. Sign 6. You lift your arm and it feels heavy. Storytelling. Han dong don jandat bai. / emotional goal. Lo lung vi matuchu. You reach for your coffee and your hand feels off. Not numb, just weaker, slower, like your arm isn't listening the way it used to. You switch hands, shrug it off. But here's the truth. Arm weakness on one side is one of the clearest early signs of stroke. It happens when blood flow to the part of the brain that controls movement is briefly interrupted. Even for 30 seconds, your muscles lose connection. You might not drop the cup, but you'll feel that something isn't quite right. Doctors use the FAST test to spot this: face, arm, speech time. If one arm drifts when lifted, that's your cue. This kind of weakness might only last minutes, but the risk is real. It's your warning, quiet but urgent. So if you ever raise both arms and one feels slower, heavier, or doesn't rise like the other, pause, test it again. Don't assume it's fatigue. That heaviness might be your chance to act before something worse happens. Comment 6 below if this made you want to try the arm test right now. Sign 7. You feel confused by something simple. Storytelling. Gokinyin. Non radieux. Non quick. / emotional goal. Non radieux. You're in the middle of a sentence and suddenly you forget what you were saying. You're cooking and can't remember where the salt goes. A family member repeats a question you already answered, but you don't recall saying anything. These moments can feel embarrassing. You might laugh them off. But confusion over simple tasks, especially things you've done 100 times, can be a red flag. When a mini stroke, or TIA, blocks blood flow to the thinking part of the brain, it can cause short-term confusion. You may struggle to follow instructions, respond slowly, or forget basic words. It's not like general memory loss. It's sudden, disorienting, and different. What's tricky is that you may not notice it yourself, but your loved ones do. They see the pause, the glazed look, the hesitation, and sometimes they're too polite or too scared to say anything. That's why it's important to pay attention when people ask if you're feeling okay. Confusion is not always aging. It might be your brain trying to get your attention before something worse happens. So if you've felt foggy, confused, or unsure about simple things lately, talk to your doctor. Don't brush it off. Comment 7 below if someone close to you has noticed changes you haven't. Sign 8. You feel nauseous, but it's not your stomach. Storytelling. Hu lam triu chung kyu hua / emotional goal. Nyak kin va de fond. Nausea after a bad meal? That makes sense. But what if you suddenly feel sick to your stomach, lightheaded, or dizzy, and you haven't eaten anything strange? Many people over 65 confuse early stroke symptoms with digestive issues. They think it's gas, food poisoning, or just something that didn't sit right. But what they're really feeling might be the result of poor blood flow to the brain. Especially in strokes that affect the back of the brain, nausea and vomiting can be early signs. This area controls balance, coordination, and how your body feels movement. When it's under stress, your whole system reacts, even your stomach. That's why stroke nausea often feels different. It hits fast, isn't linked to food, and may come with dizziness or trouble walking. The mistake? Ignoring it. Taking antacids, going to bed. But if it's your brain, rest won't fix it. If you feel suddenly sick, woozy, or off balance, and there's no clear reason, it's time to take it seriously. Especially if it happens with other signs like blurry vision or confusion. Your stomach might not be the problem, your brain might be begging for help. Comment 8 below if you've ever had sudden nausea that felt wrong. Sign 9. You can't react or see on one side. Storytelling by Kiem Tratai Na / emotional goal. Koide tu motu kiem tra. Close your eyes. Turn your head slowly to the right, then to the left. Did anything feel slower? Did one side feel harder to turn toward? Sometimes stroke warnings don't scream, they hide in plain sight. One of the most overlooked signs of stroke is losing awareness or control on one side of the body. It's not always full paralysis. It might be weaker reaction, less vision, or strange numbness. Often, it's brushed off as stiffness or fatigue. But the reason it happens is simple. When a blood vessel on one side of your brain is blocked, the opposite side of your body can't respond the way it should. This might show up in small ways like bumping into things on one side, not feeling touch as strongly, or not noticing someone standing nearby. Doctors often check this by having patients raise both arms, walk in a straight line, or respond to light touches. But you can do some of that yourself too. If something feels off on one side, your arm, leg, or eye, it's time to stop guessing. You don't need to panic. You need to pay attention. Comment 9 below if this made you want to try your own balance or vision check. Sign 10. You faint, even just briefly. Storytelling goi dung 10/emotional goal. Kan bao manhun vahandong gap. You feel the room spin, your knees buckle. For a few seconds, everything goes black. Then you wake up, maybe on the floor, maybe sitting, confused, heart pounding. You say, "It's just low blood sugar," or "Maybe I got up too fast." But here's something most people don't know. Fainting or passing out can be an early stroke warning, especially when paired with dizziness or slurred speech. When your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, your body can shut down just briefly to protect itself. Doctors say that this drop in consciousness may come before a full stroke, especially if a clot is forming. It doesn't always look dramatic. You might not even fall. Some people just zone out or go quiet, unaware of what happened. That's why it's so often missed. But make no mistake, your brain is telling you something's wrong. If you faint, lose track of time, or feel like you're about to black out, get checked. Don't wait until the next one hits harder. These moments aren't random. They're messages, and they may be the last warning your body gives before something irreversible happens. Comment 10 below if you've ever passed out and weren't sure why. Sign 11. You forget where you are for just a second. Storytelling, mat. Phuong huang tong qua / emotional goal. Kam gi mat kim sot. Sot ta. You walk into a room and stop. You look around. For a moment it feels unfamiliar. You know it's your kitchen, but something doesn't click. You shake your head. Laugh it off. "I'm just tired," you say. But temporary disorientation, especially in familiar places, can be more than just fatigue. It can be a warning that your brain isn't getting the blood it needs. This kind of confusion isn't long-term memory loss. It's a momentary blank that signals trouble in the areas of your brain responsible for orientation and awareness. These regions are sensitive to blood flow, and when it's reduced, even briefly, they misfire. It may only last seconds, but it's not harmless. Many people assume it's just aging, but age doesn't make you forget your way to the bathroom or suddenly question where you are in your own home. If this happens even once, pause. Don't ignore it. Let someone know. Write it down. These moments may be short, but they often appear before major strokes. Your memory isn't failing. It might be your circulation. Comment 11 below if you've had a moment like this and brushed it off. Sign 12. One side of your face feels different, but you still feel fine. Storytelling. Kamjak ma ban kong. In the / emotional goal. Nan biet qua kam nan the vi in the. You touch your cheek and it feels strange, maybe numb, maybe heavier. But when you look in the mirror, you don't notice much. So you assume everything's okay. But the truth is, facial changes, especially on one side, are one of the most important signs of stroke, even if they're slight. The reason? Your face is controlled by nerves that connect directly to your brain. When a stroke begins, it's often those nerves that misfire first. You might not see your own smile droop, but you'll feel it, like your mouth isn't moving right, like it's harder to blink one eye, or like one cheek doesn't respond the same. The fast test begins with face for a reason. Facial asymmetry is often the first visible sign others notice. But if you live alone or it happens quietly, you need to trust your feeling, not just your reflection. So if your face ever feels different, heavier, number, slower, don't wait to see a big change in the mirror. Call for help. The earlier you act, the more you protect. Comment 12 below if you've ever felt something off in your face but thought it was nothing. You know, it's not always age that steals our strength. Sometimes it's the soft warnings we ignore. A little stumble, a strange word, a face that just doesn't feel the same. You don't have to live in fear of a stroke. You just need to recognize the signs before it's too late. You don't need to remember them all. Just remember to listen to your body when it whispers. Think about the last time you felt a little off, but stayed quiet. You deserve to feel safe, confident, and in control of your health every single day. I know many of you are watching this video alone. But what if sharing this today helps someone else catch a stroke early and survive? Comment below if even one of these signs made you stop and think. Share this video with your family, your neighbors, especially anyone over 60. And don't forget to subscribe to the HEALZO channel, where every small tip brings peace of mind and maybe, just maybe, another chance.